morning. Let's call to order the City of Ocean Shores Lodging Tax Advisory Committee special meeting on Friday, October 31st, 2025 at 10 a.m. at the Ocean Shores Library. Roll call.
Gerald Kraus is here.
George Lee is here.
Shannon
Here.
and Eugene.
Present.
Okay. And happy Halloween, everybody. I said costumes were optional, but I don't know. Okay, can we have an approval of the meeting agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting agenda as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, public communication. Do we have anyone here in person who would like to give public communication? We have received two written public communications. Okay, if there's nobody here, Don, would you like to give yours?
Yeah, you bet. Can you hear me?
We certainly can.
Yeah, I got a couple of items. First of all, I sent an email. I hope I got around, and that's not trying to do things that the LTAC is supposed to be deciding on. That's really your issue. This has to do with qualifying the applications before they even get to the LTAC. And I cited three that I didn't feel were qualified. And they may or may not be, but if the information is not in the packet and it's required, then they're not qualified. It's as easy as that. I don't know if the LTAC people feel or the city feels they have to go chasing after documentation or not, but I don't think they have to. But anyhow, I named three in there, and you can see where they are. They're listed. You can list the summary on the first page. And I hope that you do consider those, at least two of them, as being disqualified. They don't meet the criteria for being an LTAC project. The second thing I want to talk about is there's a number of things I wonder if you're going to be discussing. An issue that has come up in the past is changing the method of payment of the funds compared to the past where a lump sum went out. I looked at the records that I think the clerk sent out about the previous payments, and it looked to me as though there were a lot fewer reports submitted than there were awards. In other words, a lot of applicants may not have responded as they're supposed to about a report. And I hope you discuss that also, because that's also a disqualification of future LTAC opportunities. Also, another thing, I don't know if it's in your purview to recommend it, but I believe, and I'm going to talk about it at the council meeting, that each recommendation made by the LTAC should be individually voted on, as opposed to a lump group vote. Last time and other times, a group vote was on all of them was pushed through, yay or nay, and I believe it's important enough that each one has to be discussed or voted on individually. And finally, as I went through this, there's a number of changes I'd recommend for the application form. I won't go into it now, but if you ever do have a plan to review the application form for future years, I'd be like to give you some comments. So thank you very much. And I saw a little pumpkin float across my screen. That's really cute. I wonder how you do that, but that's the magic of Zoom, I guess. Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to, since John is limited to, are there any other public comments online? Okay, not hearing any other public comments. I'd like to just summarize. Actually, I won't summarize. I will simply read from Don's free page. What was it? The applicant that he felt did not qualify. The first was the Coastal Interpretive Center. While the Coastal and this is quoting from his While the Coastal Interpretive Center is a tourism-related facility, the applicant did not submit documentation showing that it has federal tax exempt status. Absent being a federal tax exempt organization, 501c3 or 501c6, the Coastal Interpretive Center does not qualify under RCW 6728-1816D. The second one that he called out was the Master Gardener's Dig Shores project. This application is to construct what the applicant calls a demonstration and information garden adjacent to the United Methodist Church on Point Brown Avenue Northwest. While the project upon completion is intended to and may attract tourists to the city, it does not qualify for LTAC funding because the requested funds would be used for capital construction, not in support of operations of a tourist-related facility. As such, it does not qualify to receive LTAC funding under RCW 6728-1816D. And the third one that he called out was the Ocean Shores Hospitality Collaborative. This application is to establish and operate a training school that provides what the applicant calls guest service goal training for employees working in the city who interact with tourists. The applicant asserts that customer service training will result in delivering memorable quality customer experiences and will sustain long-term tourist growth. The proposed training may in the future and in some way benefit the city, but whatever benefits that result are not directly related to the school's actions, and there's no guarantee of any benefits to the city's economy. Clearly, what is proposed is a training facility, not a tourism-related facility. Additionally, the applicant provided documentation showing that it is a Washington state nonprofit, but not a federal nonprofit as required by RCW 6728-1816D. For these reasons, the application does not qualify to receive LTAC funding. So those are that's the summary from Don Williams. We also received, and this is actually quite long, again, a 4-page public comment, and it was not, it was listed as concerned citizen. We do not know who it came from. We just received it this morning. But I feel because of the detailed information in it that it should be included here. Would anyone else like to read it, or shall I just go ahead? Okay, I guess I'll go ahead. And this was sent to the mayor, city council members, and members of this committee. I am writing on behalf of numerous current concerned citizens, business owners, and community advocates who are increasingly alarmed by the conduct, lack of transparency, and apparent favoritism displayed by the Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition. The coalition's ongoing handling of Washington state LTAC funds, public money intended to support equitable tourism growth, now raises serious questions about oversight, fairness, and competence. Primary concerns: lack of transparency and accountability. The OSMC has requested substantial LTAC funding, reportedly around $245,000 in recent cycles, yet continues to provide no publicly available breakdown of expenditures, no analytics verifying measurable tourism increases, and no full accountability of how those taxpayer funds were applied. Residents, business owners, and LTAC members have repeatedly requested reports and metrics. None have been published. Favoritism and selective promotion. OSMC's marketing content repeatedly highlights certain hotels, restaurants, and businesses while omitting others that are equally deserving. Such favoritism contradicts the equitable spirit of the LTAC program and violates the expectation that all Ocean Shores businesses share in the benefit of public-funded tourism marketing. 3, lack of social media promotion and digital strategy. The coalition's social media presence is minimal, inconsistent, and outdated. Weeks pass without posts. Key tourism events, including Hog Wild, OS Pride, citywide garage sale, sand and sawdust festival, clam digs, and other cornerstone local activities received little to no online promotion or engagement. When content does appear, it is often after the event has passed, lacking actionable links, tagged partners, or booking calls to action. This negligence results in missed revenue, reduced visitor turnout, and a poor return on public investment. 4, dead links and outdated website content. The OSMC website contains numerous broken or misdirected links, outdated event calendars, and incomplete listings. Book Now buttons often redirect to empty or non-functional pages, and many lodging or dining listings are missing entirely. This erodes trust and discourages potential visitors from choosing Ocean Shores. Unclear marketing leadership and qualifications. Perhaps most alarming, residents have no clear information on who is actually managing the city's advertising website and social media accounts under the OSMC umbrella. Who is running the advertising campaigns? Who is managing the social media accounts and determining what content, imagery, and events get promoted? Who is responsible for web design, content updates, SEO, and analytics tracking? What professional credentials, education, or verifiable experience do these individuals or contractors possess in tourism, marketing, public communications, or destination brand management? Are these parties truly capable of managing the gravity and responsibility of citywide destination marketing account that represents an entire community's economic identity? The public deserves to know whether these critical functions are being handled by qualified professionals or by individuals lacking the expertise, infrastructure, or resources to execute a comprehensive marketing strategy on behalf of City of Ocean Shores. Failure to meet LTAC reporting requirements. Washington state law requires that lodging tax recipients demonstrate measurable benefits to overnight tourism. The coalition has failed to publish such data, including heads and beds counts, visitor demographics, geographic reach, or seasonal performance indicators, all standard reporting metrics in tourism marketing. 7, erosion of public trust. The combination of closed-door operations, selective promotion, and unverified spending gives every appearance of a cash grab and grift rather than a legitimate, inclusive marketing initiative. Residents are losing faith that the coalition serves the public good rather than the few. The unfortunate fallout and missed opportunities. Small independent hotels, rentals, and family-owned businesses are left without exposure in city-funded campaigns. Major events are overlooked or inconsistently marketed, leading to weaker attendance and less economic activity. Potential visitors find broken web links, outdated posts, and empty event listings, a poor reflection of Ocean Shore's true vibrancy and the countless activities and events the city has annually. Community members perceive the coalition as an exclusive group benefiting a select few while excluding those who most need visibility. Pertinent questions the residents of Ocean Shores deserve answered. What LTAC funds have been allocated to the OSMC in the last 3 fiscal years? How were those funds specifically spent? Who manages the OSMC website and what are their qualifications in tourism or marketing or web development? Who operates the coalition's social media accounts and what is their professional experience and posting schedule? Who plans, purchases, and tracks paid advertising, digital or traditional, and are they certified in ad platform management? What analytics exist to prove measurable increases in overnight stays, heads and beds, due to OSMC marketing efforts? What lodging businesses have been promoted via OSMC campaigns and which have been excluded? What is the criteria for distinguishing between the two? Why are the dead or outdated links on the OSMC website and who is responsible for content maintenance? What demographic data is being tracked about visitors reached through OSMC campaigns? How much of the LTAC allocation is used for administrative overhead versus actual advertising? How does OSMC determine what local events are featured and what are ignored? What conflict of interest discloses exist for coalition board members who also own or operate featured businesses? Has any independent audit verified compliance with RCW 6728-1816, or similar lodging tax requirements? And what steps will the city take to ensure that future LTAC marketing contracts are awarded through transparent, competitive, and performance-based processes? Will the city publicly release all financial and analytic reports related to OSMC activities within the next 30 days? The Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition's current practice, lack of transparency, selective promotion, dead digital infrastructure, and vague leadership betray both the intent and the letter of the LTAC program. Taxpayer funds are being spent without apparent benefit to the whole community. If the individuals managing these accounts are not trained or capable of operating a regional scale tourism platform, then the city must intervene immediately to protect the public interest. The coalition's failure to provide competent digital marketing, consistent event support, and basic transparency is unacceptable. This has every appearance of a cash grab, not a community investment. The coalition should be ashamed of this mismanagement, and the city must restore integrity, inclusivity, and professional oversight before any further public money is allocated. The residents and business owners of Ocean Shores deserve answers, accountability, and a marketing program that genuinely represents our community rather than appearing to favor large businesses with more polar influence. Thank you for your attention and your service to our city. And let me just remind you that when we have public comment, it is not our responsibility to respond to those comments.
And that was anonymous?
It was dropped off at the utility billing office.
Signature on the.
No signature. And I did not receive, I don't know if anybody else, I did not receive any emails with any.
Can I just make a
number on it.
comment? Can I make a comment?
Yes, Shannon.
I did not receive any specific emails, but that email was entirely lengthy and repetitive, highlighting its points over and over again. But I will say that I have heard the same echoes and sentiments throughout the community through different various people that I don't feel the need to name because they've named themselves on social media if you go back on posts and search. But I will say that I have heard that sentiment from multiple people in different variations of its formation. But I really do wish that people, I know that being anonymous you have every right to do that, but I have to be in public and make my public comment and my public vote and have the community be either happy with it or dissatisfied with it. And it's very hard to make votes and to have that sort of, I guess, resolve to just do what you feel is right, but then have community members that just want to blast things and be anonymous. I really wish people would stand behind what they're saying, because I have to stand behind what I am saying as an LTAC member. And that's just my 2 cents about anonymous comments.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. And all of the decisions that we make are public. So it is the same thing. We have to publicly stand by what we talk about and what we decide. Okay, so after public comment, let's go ahead and move on to old business. And that is the previous funding recipient reports presented by Sarah Logan. So Sarah, can you give us the final reports?
Well,
Yeah.
So at the last LTAC meeting, the LTAC committee had requested to know who had filed their reports of people that were asking for funding in this go around for 2026. So report status of applications, beachcombers, floats, they had filed. We attached that for the LTAC committee. Coastal Interpretive Center had filed and attached that for the LTAC committee. Grace Harbor Youth Athletics had filed and that was attached. North Beach Community TV, they filed within their summary, and receipts are within their application for this year. So we extracted those from 2026. because those were purchases made, so they had already provided them in their application of what they did for their funding last year. And then Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition had filed within their 2026 application, so we extracted from that. Their final report, because of the money's nature, would be due at the end of the year as it was anyway. So we've provided what we could on people that had applied this time. Did you want me to go over the previous awards as well, Denise, or was it just?
Yes, yeah, I would like you to go over the previous awards.
So for those that are asking for 2026 funding that were funded in 2025, Beachcombers request was 8,500. They were funded 8,500. The Coastal Interpretive Center's request, Beachcombers is asking for 8,500 in 2026. Coastal Interpretive Center requested in 2025 $102,910. They were awarded $60,000. Their request this year is $98,921. Grays Harbor Youth Athletics requested in 2025 $10,000. They were funded at $10,000, and they are requesting in 2026 $10,000. North Beach Community TV requested $20,000 in 2025. They received an award of $5,000, and the request for 2026 is again $20,000. Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition requested $314,000 in 2025. They were awarded $200,000. Their request for 2026 is $245,019. And that's what I have on it.
Okay, are there any questions for Sarah? No questions?
No questions?
Okay, are we ready to hear from our applicants? Yes? Yes, okay. Okay, Jacob, I believe you are up first, Coastal Interpretive Center. Question and answer.
Right.
Okay, well, the first thing, can we clarify, are you a 501?
Yes, we are. And we do regular work with the city, and our 1999 501c3 articles of incorporation are on file with the city.
Okay, can you confirm that they are on file?
Sarah and I looked over that on Friday.
Okay, all right. Questions for Jacob. I basically wanted a budget walkthrough. What were any other questions?
I had one. Is on your application, you had said you had begun physical infrastructure improvements.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking for, is for some physical stuff, physical improvements?
So I'll answer your question slightly sideways.
Okay.
We talk about this year and then talk about our hopes for next year. So I started as executive director in April of 2024. And although the organization was founded in 1977, we're still very much in our infancy. There's a lot of growth that we need to do to remain dynamic. And so this year we focused on rebuilding all of our digital infrastructure. So the last part of that was launching a brand new website on October 3rd, but it was also bookkeeping, it was point of sale systems, things like that. So now that we have all that afloat that can help run the kind of retail side of things, the business side of things, we're looking at what physical side of things we need to do. So we have indoor and outdoor exhibits, and the outdoor exhibits badly need refreshing. And so that is part of the physical side of things. And then also our indoor exhibits also need some refreshing. And so that's another physical element. With our lease agreement with the city of Ocean Shores, exterior building needs like the roof, for instance, are the responsibility of the city of Ocean Shores, but all programmatic concerns are our responsibility. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Shannon or Eugene, do you have questions? I have a few.
I have a question on what was just said, if you don't mind. So, I believe you said you started in 1977-ish. And so I'm just curious because the Canterbury Inn, for instance, started in 1966. And somehow we're not in our infancy still. And any refreshments to our building or features that we offer guests, we're not applying for LTAC funds. So I'm having a hard time understanding how, and I'm not trying to take away anything you do to provide education or anything like that, because I do think what you provide is great. But I'm having a hard time with the capital portions of your request when it seems like that's a business portion and not a tourism portion. And as such, if we start funding things like that, then I should be able to go apply as a hotel and say that my crab that everyone takes pictures with that cost me $5,000, the city should pay for because people take pictures with it. So I'm having a hard time with the capital side of what you guys are asking for. And so I'd like you to speak on that.
Sure. So I think there's actually two questions there, Shannon. First, we were founded in 1977 as a unit of the U.S. Forest Service, which, as you can tell, that's about an hour and a half drive, so not necessarily the most sensible. And in the intervening decades, passed from federal to state and then eventually municipal hands, and only became an independent nonprofit in 2012. And at that point was entirely volunteer-driven and dedicated. And so while it has been slightly more than a decade as a truly independent nonprofit, it's only been staff-led for less than 5 years. And so with that transition over time, as you pass through different hands or with different intentions, while the mission has remained the same, nonetheless, the professional capacity and know-how to operationalize that mission has really only been available for less than half a decade. And to your question about capital expenses or programmatic needs, I really sympathize. And I think that as we're part of the broader tourist ecosystem in the city of Ocean Shores, there are a lot of aspects to that ecosystem that either entice people to come or keep them satisfied while they're here. I would say, however, that there's a pretty substantial difference in between the natural and cultural resource education and tourist opportunities that we offer and those that are present elsewhere in the city, particularly when that scene changes. You know, the closure of Tim Rosso's art gallery is one less cultural asset that the city has for tourists. And we have been able, as we have grown as an organization this year and last year, to demonstrate that we can pull people in from across the county. So I'll give you one small example. We spent 4 days a week this past summer at Lake Quinault, educating and working with tourists there. And we were able to track about 10% of the people that we interacted with there who were opportunistic Lake Quinault tourists, then visited our museum in Ocean Shores, who otherwise wouldn't have come to Ocean Shores and visited. So that's an additional $4,500 in revenue that we generated ourselves, right? Not profit, but revenue. Just from that specific kind of outreach that's tying the city of Ocean Shores to elsewhere in Grays Harbor County and the Coastal Interpretive Center, specifically in this case to Lake Quinault. And so investing in the Coastal Interpretive Center in that case, while I understand it may seem on face a little bit like some of the expenses that you were giving there hypothetically, Shannon, I think it's actually a cut different. And I would say that as Washington Pacific Coast's only interpretive center, and now as the biggest museum in Grays Harbor County and the biggest educational services nonprofit in Grays Harbor County, what you're investing in is a rare resource in the region.
I also have a question about some of what you're looking at here, and things like business registration, property tax, supplies, copier maintenance. Those to me do not seem to help with tourism and heads and beds.
Yeah, so I appreciate the question, Denise.
Those are actually costs of business.
They are, yes, yeah. And so my hope is that as we're providing a tourism service, that the various elements of that can be supported, but I understand, yes.
I had a question along the same lines, because
Please.
in your statement, you mentioned that you're looking at developing your backyard court to make an outdoor classroom, which is not a bad idea, but and using by picnicking families in summertime. It also, to me, it just seemed like it's a capital expense.
Right, and so true capital expenses like that are not ones that I've included, right? I was overviewing the entirety of what we're planning to do, but our budget is much greater than just our request to Ocean Shores LTAC. And specifically applying just for those tourism related expenses, not for something like an outdoor classroom expense.
Okay, you, go ahead.
I had a follow-up question to a statement about doing programming out at Lake Quinault and tracking guests back. So the cost of the programming to Lake Quinault, who covered that? Was that something that they covered? Or are you getting any sort of fees from them for providing programming from them? And you mentioned that you're like one of the only people out here that are doing this for Grays Harbor County. So is the county supporting you in any way? Or are there other funds like from specific organizations like Lake Quinault or Grays Harbor County that are supporting you besides your request to the city of Ocean Shores?
Yeah, thank you. So there's a couple questions there. In regards to our education and outreach programming at Lake Quinault this summer, that was supported by two different entities, the U.S. Forest Service and the National Forest Foundation. They were very generous in their giving because we were increasing the stewardship services that were available. In regards to support from the county, we applied and received some county LTAC funding for fiscal year 2025, $8,265, and we have applied again for 2026. But as you know, county LTAC funds can only be spent on non-Ocean Shores related expenses, and so we do need to spend them elsewhere in the county. The Coastal Interpretive Center this past year generously received funding from the city of Ocean Shores through LTAC that comprised about a fifth of our budget. In fiscal year 2023, that was closer to half. And going forward in fiscal year 2026, our hope is that that can represent about a third. I'm sorry, a fifth. The percentage is decreasing. And the reason for that is that we put a lot more effort into corporate and business development, as well as looking at other foundations and individual donors. This current fiscal year, as compared to the previous fiscal year, any differences in funding that we incurred, we were able to bridge with federal and state grants. However, the sudden disruption to a lot of that federal and state grant monies, discretionary monies, and obligated monies earlier this year has also really challenged us going into the next fiscal year. Does that answer your question, Shannon?
Yes.
Was that a yes or a no, Shannon?
I said it does, sorry.
Okay. I have a question regarding the impact of LTAC support. Here you say that if CIC needs to adopt the lowest possible funding scenario, we will suffer immediate impacts to our ability to implement tourism services. We would need to eliminate all winter museum hours and cut summer hours by a third.
Yes.
So when are you talking about the entire budget that you are asking for, or?
Yes, if we received zero money from Ocean Shores LTAC, then we would need to close the museum during the winter, and we would need to decrease our summer operating hours, which are currently 7 days a week for 6 hours, to 3 days a week.
Okay, so that is with zero LTAC funds. Okay.
And to clarify, that would be winter starting in January of 2026, because December would also be considered a winter month, and that is in 2025 where you already received funds. So I'm just trying
That's
to.
right. Yes, it would be January 1 to Memorial Day, and then Labor Day to December 31.
Okay, thank you.
And what are your current winter hours?
Current winter hours are Saturdays and Sundays, and then additionally providing field trips as well.
Okay, are there any additional questions for Jacob?
Yes, I do. I just wanted some clarification on some numbers. Under your 2025 touristic highlights, there's 11% growth in total museum visitors. Are they all, and I assume that you got that from the number of admission tickets that you sold?
I'm sorry, I can't understand.
Yeah, your audio is
Oh.
not very clear.
Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, is this better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much better. Thank you.
Perfect. Sorry. So under your under the first page, let me see. Some 2025 touristic highlights include 11% growth in total museum visitors. Is that 11% growth? How are you getting that number? Is that from admission tickets that you sold?
We track everyone who enters the door. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then scrolling down to your abridged budget request under visitor services. I mean, your museum revenue seems to go up quite a significant amount, 20% from 2024 to 2025. So I guess my question is are you anticipating even further growth for 2026?
I'm only laughing because it would be wonderful if it kept growing at the same pace every year.
Of course.
The growth this year is attributed to much better bookstore sales and to slightly increased admissions revenue. The total growth in visitors was slightly less than or percentage growth in visitors, I'm sorry, was slightly less than the percentage growth in earned revenue. And so were it to increase by another 20% next year, then we probably would also need a concomitant increase of about 10 to 12% of visitors as well. With the way that economic uncertainty is impacting tourism locally and across the state, I can't speak to how tourism trends will shake out in Ocean Shores. And so I can't say for sure, but we are budgeting for similar growth next year. Yes.
Okay. And my line of questioning is kind of stemming from Shannon's. It's really just, I mean, I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, but from my perspective, I'm just trying to understand the viability and sustainability of this entity, right? And how it can, continue to go without, outside funding, right? So I'm just trying to understand. I just want to get your take on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I guess Gene, I can be as blunt and honest as possible. And it's not to say that everything before I arrived was terrible and everything after I've arrived in the job is suddenly wonderful. I think that the Coastal Interpretive Center for a long time was not run as a business entity, right? I mentioned for quite a number of years it passed through different governmental hands, and there's a different objective necessarily at that point. And then was volunteer-led for a number of years and only has been led by professional staff for less than 5. And I think with the arrival of professional staff, and myself included, we've had a really renewed focus on running it as a business, separate from the other educational programs we provide or citizen science, college internships, things like that. And so with that in mind, we've had a very short runway in which to really look at revenue and profit and look at expenses. And as we've right-sized things over the past 16 months, we have had that growth, right? 20% growth, regardless of the absolute terms, is pretty good. And we're looking to continue that. However, the runway has been short, and we do need a longer runway to really create a viable business that supports all of our visitor services elements. Importantly, we're not using LTAC funding for things that are not tourism related, right? For the 2,300 students that we've educated across Grays Harbor this year, that's totally grant supported from totally different sources. The programming I mentioned at Lake Quinault was grant supported through totally different sources. And so we're very careful with where we're spending more money. We do want to make sure that LTAC funds are spent to support the tourism ecosystem in Ocean Shores. And as we have been growing our earned revenue, we have been able to request and operate with fewer funds from the city. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, and any more questions for Jacob?
Nothing here.
Thanks very much.
Okay, next on the list is Dark and Stormy Nights Film Festival.
Good morning, that's me. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, apologize for not being there in person. I had planned on it on the other date, but I'm actually out of state at a film festival, doing some researches and shaking some hands. So thank you for letting me come in via Zoom.
Okay, well, what questions do we have for Jessica?
I was wondering if you're aware that it would only be applicable to being able to be done on, I believe you had 2 different dates, one being in October and one in January. So if it's the 2026 year, it would only be applicable to October of 2026. And I had questions about the securing of a, the convention center, or what your plans were, because a lot of it seemed very fluid as to whether or not you got funding. And so I was just wondering if you could speak more on.
Sure. Obviously we're well over a year out when we started first planning for this. So I had reached out to multiple places in regards to possible venues so that we could sit down and do a pro and con and what was available and what the costs were. So I'd actually reached out multiple places. With it being so far out and our initial inquiries being the tail end of summer, it was hard for people to get back with solid information, but we do have a tentative agreement. Our first choice was also always the Ocean Shores Cinema, purely because for a film festival, you want to be able to deliver films in a cinematic area. We are looking at spillover or satellite locations for a more casual experience. So currently, the Ocean Shore Cinema is our primary venue, and we're still having conversations if we have enough people coming in and enough films that qualify with a few other areas as well. So I do apologize for the fluidity of my application, but I had just not gotten confirmation back from a lot of places with it being so far out. So we are getting a little more details solidified. So we do have the venue with a possible backup. So we were able to get a firmer cost on that. And we have enough funding to cover the venue and some of the ancillary pieces. So we are able to move forward with a film festival of some sort. And we're seeking funding to make it a more robust film festival that we think can really get on the national radar. So that was in regards to the venue. As far as funding, we have shifted quite a bit around. We're personally putting in funding. We received a donation for $2,000 already, but we have not started seeking sponsorships or donations yet. Again, with it being so far out, but we have already garnered enough funds, like I said, to put on a festival. I just think that the other pieces that we're seeking funding for will make it much more attractive. So that's with it being, a year away and it being in that shoulder season, there are some pieces we're still wondering about. We did, in full transparency, get the final confirmed notice that the Washington Arts grants are not funded for the next year, which is why we had to make some adjustments to our budgeting and redirect some of our sponsorship goals. And of course, the Grays Harbor LTAC won't fund anything within inside Ocean Shore city limits. So now that we have a finalized venue, that is also a funding source that we are not going to have access to. But once we got all that, which was, I think, within 48 hours of each other, we did restructures so that we are able to provide something for the community, even if without those 2 funding sources available.
And what is the backup venue?
I'm sorry?
What is the backup venue?
The backup venue is either one of the hotels that we're speaking with for housing our guest filmmakers has a space, as well as the the Oyhut Event Center. But again, those aren't necessarily backup as much as they're satellite. So if we go gangbusters and we sell out, because we're probably only going to be able to secure one screen at Ocean Shores Cinema. But if we sell out of all of those showings and we don't have any seats, we want to have a place that we can offer additional seats and additional screenings.
Okay, Jessica, and I do want to, Shannon already referred to it, but you do understand this is only for 2026.
Yes.
It's not. So is October still what you were looking at?
Yes. We already have like a tentative reservation to house our filmmakers, and Ocean Shore Cinema is also aware of our timeline. We actually are coordinating it with the Freaks at the Beach market in order to give people that are coming out to the film festival, since it's a horror film festival with kind of a Halloween theme, something to do when they get tired of sitting in a theater for 7.5 hours. So we wanted to be able to have some crossover with other things to do in the community. But as of now, that weekend of the 17th is our target date and what we have our kind of bookmarks on. I am awaiting dates on the other festivals and activities going on in Ocean Shores at the time, as we don't want to compete or interfere. But since the convention center sounded like it was already reserved from talking to the coordinator with Freaks at the Beach, I'm guessing that there's no other activities going on in the convention center, but we may shift dates if that is the case.
In here, you just mentioned that you didn't have sponsors on, let's see, page, well, these aren't numbered, but under clarity, you do mention that you already have 2 sponsors.
Yes, we have. So we received a $2,000 donation. They're not requesting any formal sponsorship. And before we even opened up our sponsorship, I was just asking questions for recommendations about venues. And there was a real estate agent that, without us even opening it, said that they wanted to be a sponsor at a particular level. And so even though we're not formally really looking at that, just somebody hearing we were doing something offered. And I only included that to show that there does, and from talking with different businesses, there does seem to be an interest and support in this. And then once our funding options with the other grants no longer became an option, my personal, I guess we're a third if you count us, but my husband and I have a small company and we are also donating funding just because we wanted to be sure that we had enough funds in the bank to move forward with the opening of the festival submissions, which was today.
Okay, so will that replace the 17, let's see, $17,000?
We believe now that we had some more final quotes, because we had to shoot high end for how much we thought the venue was going to cost, because we had not been able to get a solid answer. Same thing with the lodging. We had reached out to several hotels, but several said that's too far out. We don't have rates. So we have been able to, and I can send this over, although it's still in flux as we continue to get final numbers, but we were able to adjust our budget to be able to, our like pie in the sky dream goal. We can do everything we want for $44,000, which is a lot of money, and I respect. We still feel confident we'll be able to reach that number, but we have it segmented out that if we don't, we can still put on the festival. And then as we get additional funding, add in those perks that we think will make it more attractive.
Okay, are there other questions for?
I had a comment. I looked at your marketing plan, and you've got a plan for submissions to attract movie makers, and then another complete plan for attendees. And I thought that was very refreshing to look at this complete list of places that you've kind of specced out that you think you can get information in.
We've actually received some pretty significant discounts as well. Movie Maker Magazine has is national, and over 100,000 people that subscribe, but those are usually put in public spaces. So they offered us a significantly discounted package. There's a media outlet in the Portland area that did the same thing, provided a large discount. And we tried to be very conservative with our estimated attendees, because there's, to my knowledge, there's never been a film festival in Ocean Shores. There's one listed on Film Freeway, but I wasn't able to find any contact or get any information. But yeah, so we're marketing to people to submit the films, and those will be the guests that we invite out to talk to people about their movies, other people that work in the industry, and kind of have that attractant for people to come and listen to. But we also have to have a totally separate marketing goal for people who are coming just to watch the films and to talk to the filmmakers. So we tried to split it out that way for transparency, because we feel very strongly that the filmmakers we invite are going to come, but we didn't want to really include that in attendee numbers, since we are, we're inviting them out personally. But we're trying to get a baseline for how many people, aside from the filmmakers, do we think will show up. And it's probably going to be very light this year. The festival I'm currently at, nobody had heard of 2 years ago. Now they literally have to turn people away at the doors. The city is bursting with people, and it has become the festival to go to. But it was very quick. Their first year, very minimal numbers. And I don't have numbers from this year, but I'm having a hard time getting around town just because there's so many.
And which one?
At Film Quest in Provo, Utah. They're also a genre festival.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Jessica.
Thank you.
Enjoy your festival there.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, the next is the North Beach Artists Guild.
You can pull that other one around the corner.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Looks like, okay, everybody's on camera, so we're good. Thank you for coming. Shall we start with questions?
May I introduce everyone?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
We're North Beach Artists Guild, a part of the Gallery of Ocean Shores. This is Pam Harbaugh. She is our president. Cindy Reed, she's our vice president. Bernie Paul, he is our treasurer. And I'm Roy Lowry, I am secretary. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Okay, shall we start with questions, or I think we have pretty much the overview of what you are proposing, unless you would like to add something to that.
Well, I did kind of break down a little more detail on what we submitted, but we can just go over that if you have through the question.
Well, if you'd like to do that, that would be fine.
Okay. You want me to just hand it to you, or
No, you can just summarize it.
okay. The North Beach Artists Guild established in 2011. We became a 501c3, I think in 2014, 2015. We're all volunteer. We don't pay anyone to keep the doors open. The mission of North Beach Artists Guild is to bring art to community and art education through art classes. We have consistently done that since opening in 2011. Through all volunteer, we do charge for classes. 30% goes to support the guild, and then the 70% of the instructor. Instructors usually provide most of the supplies in teaching their classes. The guild will provide classes for guild material and guild instructions on occasion. But basically, what we submitted was we wanted to capture art and action through a free class event, June 6th, August 1, and October 3rd. We originally thought it would be a one Saturday event, but in further discussion, we decided a Saturday, Sunday event offering free art classes would introduce new students and visitors to painting mediums, watercolor, acrylic, and then our fused glass studio and our pottery studio. So each class would be outlined in a prospectus brochure, a date and time for the different classes, when they would be scheduled. So then in our
Can I interrupt you right there? So, are you, for the dates and events here, what you have on the application
right,
is weekly or monthly classes?
which we have on,
So,
we actually do ongoing classes, weekly and monthly currently, and it's just a part of who we are. Basically, when we submitted the proposal, it was more in line with featuring a specific class or opportunity that would bring more visitors or more students to the Gallery of Ocean Shores and North Beach Artists Guild. So, well, what we outlined.
Is this for monthly? What is this application for?
This application would be actually for it's actually a 2-day event. 2 months apart. So we actually define it more as more of a seasonal event. So what happened here is these events aren't free, they cost. What we've kind of shifted that.
Okay, I'm still trying to understand how many events are you actually asking for funding for here?
It would be
June,
well,
August, and September.
yeah, it'd be 3 2-day events.
Can you repeat the dates again?
Yeah, it would be June 6th and 7th, August 1 and 2, and October 3 and 4.
Can I ask a question based on your dates? So knowing that we're busy in the summer and knowing that we're trying to put heads in beds on off-season shoulder dates, why are there 2 prime summer dates? In your explanation, or like why not look toward October, November, or like I'm just curious the summer dates.
Okay, yeah, the summer dates actually were coincide with our quarterly structure of classes. We usually June would be a higher volume with the Gallery of Ocean Shores and visitors to North Beach Artists Guild. So that would coincide with a more students for classes. August is also of course, in the tourist season, and that would also, for us, bringing art to community, that would help us enrich more people wanting to take art classes. October 3rd, being more of heading into the off season, we're still believing that the strength of the classes and what we have been providing the last 14 years would have a substantial attendance because of, well, one thing, in this particular instance, the classes are free. And what we've discovered, or I've discovered in the last month, free really speaks to people. And so that's.
Okay, and I have a question about free here, because at the bottom, okay, so you have the other income here. You have artist stipend at
Yes.
3,200 here.
Yes.
So are these 3 two-day events, are they all free, or that you are not going to be charging anything for them?
We're not charging students, these are teacher stipends, yeah. So basically we just broke it down. If we were paying a teacher $12 per student and we ended up with 300 students, how does that break down? So so basically the there would be no charge for students taking classes, and that would break down to 4 different classes: 2 painting, 1 pottery, and 1 fused glass. The teachers would be paid according to the number of students that would be taking their class. Now it's a little bit different. Some venues pay a flat fee to an instructor, no matter how many students they have. And that may be something that we would have to consider depending on how many students attended. Here, we're looking at an estimated 300 students total over the three-month projects, but it could be more than that. And so, but basically, what we were hoping to get recognition for is that North Beach Artists Guild has been given art classes to people visiting Ocean Shores for the last 14 years. And we've never asked for anything, any support on that behalf. So this is a part of structuring it into more of, not more fluid, but in bringing more of an art experience to community in a larger scale. Offering free classes does that.
Oh, okay. Can you just clarify, are you offering free classes now, or are all your classes?
We do offer some free classes now.
Questions from the committee?
What is the cost? So for instance, you have a June 6, 7, an August 1, 2, and an October 3, 4. So what is the cost of it? For example, the October 3, 4 segment? Like what portion do you need from LTAC for October 3, 4 if we were not willing to fund the the June and August dates?
Okay. Basically, I think as what we would probably do is we would break down the grant into 3 parts. So it would be 1/3 of what we were asking. And so 1/3 of the $1,250, $1,500 would be broken down to support that opportunity. And so basically, we believe that what we found out is, I just gave a class here free at the library. They had a registration. One class, 4 people registered and I had 13. The other class, and I asked the 13 people, how many of you are going to take the next class? All of them raised their hand. So 10 people have only registered for that class. So not only did I have those 13, but I had 10 more. So I had 24 people that, so out of the day, that was a surprise, So we feel that the momentum of the art experience with what we have provided in visibility and community and the last word, this is a win-win.
My last question is on the class dates, like October 3rd and 4th, and you have a fee for the artist that you're paying. Is that artist then able to sell anything so that they're also receiving income from that? Or is there any other sort of income producing? So you're giving the class for free, but is there any other ways that the guild or the artist itself is making money? And then what do you do if for some reason the artist doesn't show up on the 3rd and the 4th and we've funded the money? How does that work?
Okay, one is, we haven't required any fee from the artist or from the students taking the art classes. And so there's no refund necessary. Generally, when students take or sign up for classes at the Guild now, generally we've been pretty lenient under different personal circumstances, we will offer a refund. But if it's just from lack of them missing the date or not showing up, we now don't offer that refund. But in this case, with everything being free, we don't feel that there's going to be a need to, refund anybody for not showing up.
The artist, not whoever's instructing, not the partakers. So if I'm putting on a class and I have someone teaching that class, if that person does not show up to teach the class and you've received money for the class, that's my concern. So
Okay. Well, I think actually we're pretty amazing in the respect that most of our teachers are very involved, and I hate to use the word passionate about bringing art to community and communicating their expertise. So we really have had very few people not show up. I think that it being well planned and followed through in, I think everything here would be a success.
Well, one thing, all of the instructors that would be involved are very involved in North Beach Artists Guild at this time. So it's very unlikely that they just would not show up, because they're part of this whole, what we're putting on here, so.
Yeah, they're part of the mission.
Yeah.
So you're basically all locals?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Basically
Yeah.
locals.
Yeah. In fact, 2 of them are sitting here, so.
She lives in
Have-
Central,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I live in Central Park, so, and she's one of our instructors.
So not a long commute.
As long as the bridge is open, I can get over.
And thank you for the visitor count. I thought that was very,
Oh,
very
okay.
interesting.
And we just wish we had volunteers that were more thorough. I mean, that is basically from our written what we have, but we think that number is probably a little bit larger than that, so.
Yeah.
I had some questions on your breakdown of descriptions. You have
Yes.
Workshop materials and supplies for glass and watercolor pottery and jewelry making. And the temporary signage and lighting upgrades and
Yes.
display materials. It seems to me it's jumping back into that capital expense category.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's along with generally when we have a special event like this, we would consider this a special event. We would probably host a show of the work that had been completed during this session. And so that may not necessarily require special lighting or display, maybe fused glass might. But basically that would probably those funds would probably move into supplies. And it's not about what we have learned is that the more organized and structured and streamlined you are in teaching classes, the higher the return on a more positive investment with the student is actually received. So planning out instruction and classes and materials there's a lot more than goes into it than actually just, the cost of clay or the cost of glass or, I mean, and so, but yes, there is something like the welcome packets. I believe that's probably a small expense. Printing on on anything documentary is a little bit more. I did kind of a breakdown. The North Beach Art Guild, the rack card alone would be $350, but for 1,000, it's $112 to have printed. Um, um, we were thinking of advertising through the Ocean Shore Cinema. They have the screen. We have a current ad going now with the North Beach Artists Guild. And I think that cost is generally right around $600. So some of these funds would probably be a little more fluidly used, but we would account for wherever the money would go.
Because it's a payback system now, so I would suspect that if you had a bill that you wanted to submit for supplies of pottery or lighting upgrades, display materials, you might run into a case where the city would say, nope, we can't pay for that.
Yes, yeah. Basically the way the gallery's structured right now, we handle pretty much all exhibits fairly streamlined. I don't know that there would be, this is kind of like, well, it could be just an outdoor sign that we put out on the freeway above the sign that we have already there that would say, weekend event, da, 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 da. And so that would be maybe 1/3 of the $1,000, which is $300 to have that actually printed, and we would put it up, but to have it printed,
Yeah.
and so. But structuring this as a recurring event is something that we would like to keep it simple and something that we could return to on an annual basis. And maybe it would even grow into something much bigger. And one of the things we've often talked about, which we haven't structured yet, would be the largest paint and sip in the West Coast. And we would utilize the convention. So, but we're not there yet. So this is kind of the beginning formation of something maybe a little bit larger. So
Okay, any other questions?
I have one really quick.
Yeah.
You're all, you say you're all volunteers?
yes.
Except for your instructors on the event coordination, can you tell me what staff time for planning is? When you've got $1,500 for planning, that sounds like you're getting paid to plan the event and stuff.
Oh, staff time for planning or set up our registration and volunteer coordination. Yeah, that is, we are all volunteer and we agree to that. And yeah, when I saw that and basically event coordination, we don't pay our staff and nobody would be paid for setup. That would be all volunteer. Registrations, all volunteer and volunteer coordinating. So that $1,500 could probably be moved into, and I wouldn't say necessarily, but I would probably say it could be supplies, or if we didn't use the total funds. I do know that as we broke down the 3 classes and made it a weekend 2-day event, that may require more people and more materials. I mean, so basically the funds probably would be moved, but we would account for wherever it was moved and what it was paid for. But yes, our staff and all volunteers, nobody's been paid in 15 years. So, yeah. And we're still here.
Thank you for all those volunteer hours.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the North Beach Artists Guild? Okay, well, thank you for the clarification and thank you all for.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask the group, do you want to just continue going or do you want to take a break? Everybody okay to just
Good, keep on.
keep on pushing through? All right, keep pushing through. The next one is North Beach Independent Media.
That'd be me.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, what are the questions that we have for Butch? I did not note any questions that I had. Questions from the group?
You know, I didn't.
We obviously had some, or else we wouldn't have invited them here.
I have questions about the advancement in marketing the event, should they be funded? Because I know that the last time there was a delay in the marketing of it, or not. I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but it seemed like it could have been pushed out to be a broader reach. And so I was wondering what you would do different on this funding round, if there was anything you would be doing different than the previous year. And it's not to say that the previous time that you did this, it wasn't successful or good. I actually did have someone attend and they said they had a very nice time. So I don't want to take away anything from it. I just wanted to find out how we will reach more tourists to put heads in beds, and what you may or may not do different.
Okay, you're talking about 2024, right? 'Cause
I
we haven't
believe
done
that's
this year yet.
yeah.
Yes, because we haven't done 25 yet.
We received 10 grand from LTAC in 2024.
Mhm.
The event cost us about $35,000 to put on. So our marketing was kind of limited to what we could do. We did a lot of social media marketing, and marketing is pretty expensive. And so we didn't really have the money really to go out and market like we wanted to. So we did some social stuff and we did some radio stuff. But we mainly only had about a third of the people that came are from out of Grays Harbor County in 2024. This in 2026, we want to spend about 12 to 15 grand on advertising, which we do digital advertising. We go out of county radio advertising. We would do podcast advertising. We just expand our advertising a lot to try to attract more people to come into town, because that's going to be the beginning of a 3-day weekend. And so what we want to do is try to get people to come in town and spend all 3 days in town, spending their money at the restaurants and every place else. This year it's on a Wednesdays, it's kind of limited to what we're going to bring in, but next year it'll be on a Friday night or Thursday night for a 3-day weekend. So we're kind of excited about that.
That was my question too about the marketing. You put on $12,000, but it'd be nice to have seen a list like we saw with the Dark and Stormy Night, where all of the various, let's say, places that you've looked at to spend that money.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we've looked at magazine covers, paper covered, newspaper type events, gonna cover them. Digital advertising goes all up and down the I-5 corridor. And the podcasting thing was something new that Alpha Media came up with. And for about $1,000, you can get like 40,000 hits on podcasts all up and down the Seattle Tacoma area. And so we're looking to expand on on our advertising.
you
What-
got,
Oh, go ahead.
well, you got
What are you doing this year?
Very little. Since we don't have any LTAC money this year, we're kind of limited what we're doing. So mainly it's social media. We did a couple paper advertisements, like I think it's at Sunrise News or whatever it's called.
Ed takes care of that part of it, so I'm not quite sure what it was. It's been pretty limited.
You got Northwest Web Design doing stuff for the radio station. Have you talked to those guys about doing marketing for you too?
It will be, yes.
Is it local?
I think, I just got to know Randy, right? And I'm not sure what all he can do, but I'm gonna look into that because I think I can get a better deal through him than I did through Alpha. But Alpha has a lot of radio stations from Portland all the way up through Seattle. And well, it's not Alpha anymore. I forgot they changed their name. But so we want to take advantage of that.
One of the questions I had was about offering wholesale rates for the tickets to, let's say, to the hotels. So when people come in, they could offer a ticket at retail price, but then they get it at wholesale. And you sell it to the, sell it to them at a wholesale rate. So they make a little bit of money on just offering the tickets to their guests. Is that something that you have planned to do in your marketing?
Right now, we're so involved in this year, I haven't got a chance to plan a lot for 2026 yet, but we're gonna look at all options here.
Okay.
I don't know if public comment is welcome, but I'm a hotelier and we did couple up with them.
No,
New
we
Year's Eve, so,
can't.
There's public comment at the end.
okay, sorry.
Are you looking at increasing the price of tickets next time?
Each year, we've upped it every year, so. Yeah, this year, we are doing a 2-ticket tier thing. For the $70, you can come in, you get dinner and at 6:30 and then entertainment throughout the night. And if you don't want dinner, you come in at 8 o'clock after dinner's been pulled and it's $50 a ticket. The dinner's at a buffet type thing, right? So I don't want people coming in at 6:30 with a non-dinner ticket and sneaking their way through the buffet. So we have a 2-tier deal. We have entertainment from 6:30 to about 7:30, but it's just acoustic and it's kind of dinner music.
It's also on New Year's Eve. And if I want to go to this thing, I would want to drink all the free liquor I can get my hands on. Well, cheap liquor. Do you have any plans for like any kind of transportation to take the people like me home?
We have in the past contacted Abbey Cab, okay, to make sure that they're available. I forgot, we had somebody else too, I can't remember who they were. And we did have cab, and we post the cab numbers and all the numbers for transportation home. They're at the bar.
Okay.
As we realize some people are gonna be probably celebrating a little too much, maybe.
Any other questions for North Beach Independent Media?
That's what I had.
That's it?
Thank you.
A lot easier than I thought it was gonna be.
And next to last, so. Thank you to our marketing coalition for their patience. Next is Ocean Shores Hospitality Collaborative.
I just went in alphabetical order.
Hi. Okay, shall we start with question? Why don't you, since this is a new program, why don't you give us just a real
Overview.
real short overview?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I am Lauren Taylor, and I have lived in Ocean Shores for 21 years now. Originally, when I came in 2004, I went to work at Shiloh. And I had the pleasure of working there when the convention center was new And a lot of the work that I did was helping get groups and people into both into the hotel and into the convention center. We had an amazing team. I think George was a part of it, if I can remember correctly. But we solicited different organizations to bring their event to Ocean Shores. And when I left in 2006, we were booked out until almost 2009. And those were some really good years, different, just from everywhere. What sheriffs and police chiefs, educators, foster families, were just a few of what came. About a year ago, I stepped back into hospitality, and it was a totally different picture than what had been there previously. And a lot of what I did, because of my problem-solving background, was to look at why are our guests, why do we have the low rates that we do? Why do we have the reviews that we do from guests? If you go to Google and you just do Ocean Shores hotels and you look at the reviews, it's horrific. It's scary. And that's where the cleanliness ordinance came about, was because of what was happening there. And so I started looking at the big picture. What do we do to bring tourism back to Ocean Shores? What do we do to, get us to the standard of where, and the State Hospitality Association, the State Tourism Association look at Ocean Shores as this potential shining star on the coast. We are the end or the beginning of the Olympic Loop. We have the most beautiful beaches. We have the most phenomenal environment, but we don't get the reviews and we don't get the tourists that we should, and why. And so we went back to look at what are the issues, and there's a lot. I will say a lot is the lack of employees, the lack of affordable housing, the struggle that every hotel has to keep it to the standards that it needs to be in order to achieve that top class. So I started talking with the Washington Hospitality Association and with the Washington Tourism Bureau. What do we do? How do we do this? How do we change it? And it goes back to basically identifying with each hotel what their problem is. What do you need that is going to make you a successful business? Whether it be, do you need new carpet? What do you need? The bottom line comes down to employees, and employees that are not trained, employees that just, can't afford to live here. So everybody's groveling for what you can find. So how do we bring that in? And the Hospitality Association and the National Restaurant Association have their gold service, guest service gold training. And we said that would be a good way to start. And so part of when I wrote this proposal, I wrote it as I would a grant for something else, especially when you said that you were going to be doing things on a reimbursement basis. The plan is to work, and I have been doing it, is going to each hotel and saying, what do you need? And a lot of what we don't realize is that our legislators and the different associations that are there to help us as well. I know a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Kim met with Robin from the Washington Hospitality Association for the first time, and he learned what that association can do to help him as a business. As the collaborative, what we wanted to do was be able to connect each hotel with the resources that can help them be a better business. What do you need to go actually lobby? I met on Wednesday with Senator McEwen and Representative Olcott, and we were discussing what do we need to do to help Ocean Shores. And they were just like, there's funding, go ask for it. You've got to ask for it. And that's not going to come if we don't do it. The guest service gold is a part, what I just attended a training yesterday, which was done through the Hospitality Association with Fairfield Inn, where they had a group of people come in and stayed in the hotel. and did the training there. Are those options that we could do? Absolutely. To be able to go to each hotel and individualize the guest service goal training for them. You know, hands-on, on deck, let's see where you're going, see what you're doing.
Okay, well, let's open it up to questions for Lauren, and I will start just by the comment, the public comment that came today. And you know, I think many of us realize that there is an issue that is happening in Ocean Shores. As you already mentioned, the city council did pass the hotel ordinance. But I think the issue here is, how does training actually directly result in tourism or marketing, which whether we like it or not, that's what we're limited to in terms of the LTAC funds. So
because you are, as if a hotel, once your staff are certified in guest service gold, you can market, there's a sticker, there's a way to market that that's what you've done. Additionally, what we've been doing is we're collaborating between the hotels and the restaurants. We put out a flyer to the different businesses where they would offer discounts to hotel guests. So you're marketing within the area. It's hard to sit there and say, we're going to spend, you know, $100,000 on marketing, and then you bring people in to what? You know, I guess I can say from personal experience, I had a guest who called and said, I'm on my way up to Ocean Shores. You know, what do you, and I said, just get here, we'll help you. We took care of it. We did everything. The reviews were phenomenal. She sent 3 people to us. So that customer service leads to good marketing, good sales, and you can, a total cost savings.
Okay. Questions?
I've got one. Is any of your staff or on the board that you listed, are any of those folks certified guest service professionals?
Alice is, and Lorraine has been working in hospitality for over 20 years.
Can you address the comments that Denise read earlier from Mr. Williams, and address any of those comments?
The comments about we are a state nonprofit, but when we looked and will apply for the 501(c) when the IRS reopens. In fact, I showed Mr. Dooley, I was in here and I got an email, your appointment has been canceled because the office is closed. But we kind of fall into a marketing group as well, which is a dual purpose, because you're helping. And when you look at some of the proposals that we offered, is helping hotels and businesses market. And marketing Ocean Shores to our legislator and our state.
At the previous meeting that we had, someone spoke to how something similar was done previously, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the exact quote, and I'm not the person who made the comment, so it was just a comment that was made. Something was done previously in years past. It failed miserably because it was staff did not attend, employers did not promote it, things of that nature. You know, so how would you go about trying to assist, for instance, a hotel that doesn't think it has an issue, that probably does? And how would you, if that hotel is non-receptive, allow those employees or market to those employees for this training, or would that, because there's some concern with the community on a different thing right now, that we're not all inclusive. So how do you make sure that you're inclusive of everyone that wants to participate, and that you're trying to hit every employee that may want to participate, even if their employers aren't sponsoring this? Or how do you overcome those kind of objections?
there's ways to do it, not just in person. There's ways for those employees to do it online. And yesterday, when I met with David Frock from the National Restaurant Association, he said if those employees could not afford to do it, that he would be willing to find, or he has ways that he could find to sponsor them and pay for it. But the training is available online. And it does cost $60. But I know that through the Hospitality Education Foundation and those others, that we could be able to cover that. And just the partnership that we're developing with the Washington Hospitality. This morning we had a meeting yesterday, and I had a conversation with the senator this morning about, this is the need we have. And can you appropriate $500,000 for us next year to be able to bring that training to everybody who needs it? So it becomes it's not just one piece of a puzzle, it's a big puzzle. And with the World Cup soccer next year, with the Olympics in 2028, there is so much opportunity to increase tourism in this town. And if we don't have the good, solid basis, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I have a question. Looking at the the budget here and the budget request, it looks like nearly half of the budget, not quite half, but almost half is for a full-time coordinator. If a lot of this training is available or some of it's available online, how would this person be spending their time? I mean, it doesn't seem as if there's that many, that much.
Working with individual hotels, a couple of months ago, well, not just hotels, but restaurants and businesses as well. I think that we have like 12, 13 hotels. And then I've met with some of the restaurants and anything that has a guest, that a tourist that can walk through the door is considered hospitality. And how do we bring that gold star service to every business in this community? Because that's what's going to make us shine. That's what's, Westport is working really hard at it. And how do we've got to keep up. We've got to do something different than what we've done. And been able to go into each hotel and meet with the staff, almost personalized service from the collaborative, from what resources do you need? When I met with Senator Adam Birnbaum, Representative Birnbaum, he came out a couple of months ago to the Canterbury Inn, and we were discussing the issues with the growth behind, and he was looking at it, and we were talking about the town, and I said, what I want to do is I want to go to each hotel and say, what do you need? What is it going to take for you to be the best that you possibly can be? And he got all excited over that. And he's like, I want to be a part of those conversations with you.
Given that you have connections, and I'm glad our representatives are interested in this, is there statewide funding?
There is some, but starting out, it takes a leap of faith, and that comes from the community, that comes from the council we've got to start somewhere. Washington Tourism has funding that we can use, that we can tap into. I have no problem going to our legislators and the appropriations committees and saying, this is a potential phenomenal tax basis, but we need help, and we need help. I wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't. But we need help, and we've got to start somewhere.
Okay, other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. So I think Shannon asked a question, and I don't think I heard an answer, and maybe I misinterpreted the question altogether. But when it comes to hoteliers or other businesses who think that they know what they're doing and don't need this sort of certification or whatnot. How do you sort of approach that situation? And then another question after that is, how do you measure success? Like, what are some of the key metrics that you have in terms of how you would measure success for this collaborative?
Well, I think our reviews online, the online reviews are, where we start. When you compare the Canterbury and some of the other hotels to some of the others, it's night and day. And the way I think that I have done some is going to the general manager, going to whoever and saying, hey, look at your reviews. Where are you struggling? It's diplomacy. It's been, how do we improve this for the city? Because what one hotel does when it's done negatively affects the others. And it affects the rates. We saw this past winter where, $45 a night for a room. That was like absolutely crazy in this town. We should be getting $200, $250, no problem. Summertime, in 2004, $175 a night in winter for the Shiloh was normal. In summer, we were going up to $500 a night, $600 a night for a room. I sold a first floor room at the Canterbury Inn for the 3rd of July at $600. No question, no problem. So that's where we look at it, is what is, the average daily rate? Where are our reviews? And the reviews you can't hide from, because that's how the guests see what they, they see what they see, and that's their experience.
So I guess, so I want to, maybe I'm not really understanding the certification you're talking about is about customer service, but then the metrics you're sort of bringing up is about, the average daily rate and such on. So I guess it sounds a little conflated and it's not very clear to me. And I'm just trying to understand, like, in terms, so maybe what you're saying, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but maybe what you're saying is the hoteliers will see an increase in ADR or average daily rate, and that's how they would measure success of the program. But yeah, I'm not getting a quite clear answer.
Customer service is the one part, and it's the attitude, the morale, it's the way that staff approach their jobs. That's just one small piece. And that is reflective in what the business of the hotel, the opinion of the guest.
Okay.
Though that's not just with a hotel, that would be with a restaurant, for instance, also. So for instance, if you're seeing more positive reviews, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but for instance, if I'm running a restaurant in town and I'm seeing an influx of positive reviews after said training or after my employees have participated in something like this, that's what you're saying is the identifiable metric, because it's not like it's like an across the board thing with different various. So you have to kind of look at everyone's different things. Like, if what I'm extrapolating from what you're saying is, right now, if we look at hotel reviews, and my hotel excluded. If I look at hotel reviews, there's a few that are very good, and there's some that are historically bad for the same things. So let's pretend that the ones that are bad for the same things their employees start becoming more engaging and better service orientated. If we saw those reviews increasing, what you're saying is that we would be able to attribute it to this kind of program. Is that what I'm understanding?
Definitely, because it shows when you read the good reviews, it's always, the staff was amazing, staff. And then when you get to the bad reviews, it's, the staff attitude or the condition of the hotel. It's not clean, it's dirty. Where does that come from? That comes from a lack of staff pride or a lack of employees. And you know, that's another area that we have to look at. Who wants to work in a hotel that has a bad reputation, or, you know, that has these negative reviews? It makes it very challenging.
Okay, did that answer your questions, Eugene?
Yeah, I just have a couple of other comments, but I can defer them.
No, go ahead.
Maybe George had a couple of questions. I feel like I've taken quite a bit of time.
I think it was Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
Daryl, okay,
I had a
Daryl.
couple. I looked at your executive summary, and it talks about a number of different organizations that you're kind of partnering with: the Department of Commerce, Washington Hospitality, National Restaurant Association. Well, I looked up Grace Harbor College, and they've got, I mean, you're looking at 12 classes of 3 hours each, according to your list. And Grace Harbor College offers almost it seems to me a lot of the same stuff. And one of the stuff for the restaurants, other than the designing a menu creation, looks like it was food handlers permit. Why wasn't Grace Harbor College included in your list?
Because Grace Harbor College right now is just in the beginning process of their culinary program, which I am the chairman of their advisory board. And so we were just waiting until they got going and got everything in place. But they are there. They just weren't listed on that. But Nina, who is their instructor, is definitely, there's opportunities there that we talked about. You know, 4 of our frontline restaurants are closed. What used to be the Waves, the Shiloh, the Ocean Beach Grill, and the Rusty Anchor. And we talked about how do we possibly, you know, use interns, find ways to open and generate those. But that's on another level, other than we've got to start with customer service. If we don't have that basis, then, you know, what good is doing anything else?
I have one additional question, if you don't mind, and I might have missed it because I had surgery. It was a 9.5-hour surgery, so I had to go take some Tylenol. So I apologize if I missed it. I know that there was a talk about the administration cost and whatnot, and I know that there's obviously some concern over the cost of a program like this. So what is, in your opinion, the bare bones number that you could administer or start to administer a program of training at?
It depends what level. The initial part of going to each facility and identifying what their needs are. And the way, when you said that it was going to be reimbursement, it basically would been able to say, okay, you know, here it's me or Alice who is doing it. Here's a timesheet of everything that's done. And to be able to put that, you know, send that in monthly. And then this is the class. A lot of that was done at the highest level, because as someone who's written grants on different areas, you aim for the highest and hope that you will be able to not use or return some of the money that, you know, was appropriated for it. And administrative costs, there's a lot of stuff in there that hoping we can find through hospitality, or the Hospitality Association or the Restaurant Association, because they do have grants, and to be able to go to them and say, hey, you know, this is what we need. So basically, just like one employee who would work, you know, pretty much at whatever rate was deemed $30 an hour. And then the administrative cost would be if that was necessary. It just, you're starting something new. It's hard, you know, it's go for the highest part that is there. And then just on a reimbursement basis is how I read it. to be able to show this is the work that was done every month. You know, these are the people that are contacted. This is what was done. Does that answer your question?
It does. I appreciate it.
Okay, Daryl, did you have another one?
That's it. I'm good.
Okay, George.
Good.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And the Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition are last in alphabetical order. Again, thanks for the patience.
Hello.
Hi.
We are happy to be here and happy to build all the questions and all the concerns and everything that we can help.
Yep.
I feel saddened by the earlier comments that kind of.
We have extra copies and don't feel that you need to answer all of them, but
From. Where would you like us to start, I guess?
well, I think just go ahead and I think start with what you're proposing. And mostly I don't know about other people, the questions that I had, it really had to do on metrics.
So.
And you might, for at least people listening, just kind of give an overview of the past couple of years.
Certainly.
Go ahead.
I'm David Robbins, president of the Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition.
Jason Mearsman, owner of OYFA.
Do you want to interview Joe?
Hi, Jody Kittle.
Hi, I'm Steve Buck. I'm a volunteer with the Ocean Shores Advertising.
Sorry for assuming that.
That's all right. No. So we started this a couple of years ago. And obviously the first year was our finding our way into things and getting a basis, understanding of where we were going to go with the organization, what we were going to do, et cetera. Last year, we laid a lot of groundwork and foundation work and started our marketing plans as well. And then as we got into 2025, we were able to really implement them because some of the foundations were in place. We had our website started, we had our social media going, and looked at hiring professional companies, et cetera. So this year was a success for getting all of our filming done, getting stuff online, getting everything done, and getting it accomplished by getting it put out into the marketing areas that we had proposed. So from the I-5 corridor, north of Seattle, all the way to Portland, and back over to the coast, we have had a reach of the documents talk about the number of hits and how many things were shown in those areas through the year. So
Our biggest intent with 2025 was to use those dollars to obtain reach. More eyes on Ocean Shores, which in theory means more people traveling to Ocean Shores. So that's always been our goal. There are many different ways to accomplish that goal, and a full comprehensive marketing plan is extensive. You know, we went in for more money last year. We're funded at a certain level. We took a look at the budget and felt, where can we do the most damage? So to David's point, that I-5 corridor was really important to us because from all of our research, that was going to be where the majority of the people that might travel to Ocean Shores would be coming from. So taking that into account, we put commercials together. We got online. We worked with a production company. We put some really high quality content together. And we put it in those geographic regions, very specifically, very targeted, to the tune of over 4 million views, impressions. Thank you.
And do you have the demographics for those hits?
Pretty wide range, to be honest. But yes, we have not just geographic, but we also have with the targeted streaming that you can do, you are able to obtain a little bit more detail. It's a little bit more generic on a more traditional broadcast platform. But we married those two concepts together and we felt like that was a really good bang for the buck. And then developed a really good partnership with Fox 13 and their affiliates along the way. And they kicked in a lot of additional advertising to Ocean Shores. They cut their own commercial. They helped us get in front of the Mariners during, a very large season for that team. VisitOceanShores.com was very face forward in the regions that we selected for a long time, and it's still running today.
So what's the breakdown of the budget?
So of the 245, we have, just in round numbers, we have 60 for content creation with the production company. And that would be effectively a monthly charge with them, if that makes sense.
This page is the comprehensive.
2026 version of.
Yes, that's correct.
5,000 starts at master plan media.
Master plan media, correct. 5,000 a month there, yeah. We have in there for other creatives. So when we reach out for requests for blog posting on the website or other production related items, photography, anybody here locally that, we can support any of those things. And then we have the paid placement. So that's going to be broadcast and streaming. And that's just those numbers are from our understanding of what it costs to do that, to the tune of 4.5 times a day.
And their recommendation of the purchasing power of where we should place that.
Yeah. So the increase from last year, as last year's funded total to this year, was specific to the social media side of things and spending more dollars and effort in that area because the return on investment in social media is significant, as we all know. And we believe that that's kind of the next addition into the overall portfolio of what we're doing is to really emphasize social media and social media advertising specifically. The tool that we use on the.
Okay, can I just ask a question about the budget here? Because I'm seeing the totals and the actuals, and then I'm seeing.
I think you're on the budget to actual.
2025?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should just be.
No red on 2026.
Yeah, no red on 2026.
It was slow.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I was wondering if they could speak to some of the commentary about self-serving placement and not overall objective marketing of Ocean Shores, because that was in the commentary provided in the multiple page dissertation over and over and over again. And so how do you guys justify the overexposure of your personal businesses and I'm gonna take gray goal out of this because I don't see a lot of overexposure of gray goal, but for instance, and I'm going to defend what that person said, on your own website under the food and drink tab, there's listings of restaurants and it's not alphabetical. And the very first ones listed are Bennett's, White Hut Bay Grill, and Corks and Taps. So I'm just wondering if you could address the commentary from the community.
My feeling is this. We have an outreach that we did, that we visited over 60 businesses and organizations in the city this year. We introduced ourselves. We provided with them information of how to play with us, gave them our contacts, and everybody had an opportunity telling them that it was free to play because they were concerned, what is the cost for us? We had to make the introduction and tell them who we are, because there is misunderstanding of what the coalition is about. We are taking the tax dollars and we are advertising the city as a whole. We have built a website that you can play on our website by feeding your business information to us, that will be on a platform that will be seen through our advertising out of the area. And we are stressing again, the community has given us backlash that we are not advertising to Ocean Shores and locally. Our reach is out. It is the I-5 corridor. It is away from here. So those that comment about our self-serving businesses and stuff, right? We have given freely of our business expenses and things to help this happen, okay? It costs money and a lot of money to bring professional film crew in, videographers, the amount of time that they edit, the discussions that we have back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And every business that we visited, over 60 businesses and organizations that we reached out to, have had that same opportunity. So for example, when lodging is needed, we do provide the lodging as part of the package to bring these people into town, right? We reach out to the other hotels besides mine, the Canterbury, Oi Hut Bay, and ask them to play. It is a given.
I'm gonna interject. I would like to know when that has ever happened, because I don't recall in the last year ever being asked by Visit Ocean Shores for any sort of rate information, anything like that. So, and further, I used a very specific example on your website about Bennett's, Oi Hut, and Corks and Taps being the first listed. And I'm not trying to make anyone defensive. It is a community question, and I'd like the answer as to why those are listed first and not just a general alphabetic listing of restaurants.
Okay, I mean, if
Denise, I can speak to that if
Okay.
you'd like.
Absolutely. Jordy, why don't you just come to the table?
So as David mentioned, we reached out to all the businesses. David himself went into businesses, spoke with them, had conversations, asked them to, give us some basic information about their business. And perhaps it's misleading on the restaurant page because those are the businesses that responded to us. It just so happens that they are part of us to some degree. But any of the businesses that reached out to us and sent us information, sent us photos, they got moved to the top of the lists, and you'll see that their listings have more in them because they did give us information. So
I will
that
add
explains
to, that would be an easy rotator integration that we could probably do. Admittedly, I think that that's probably a good thing for us to do anyway. Just on any of the pages, just a constant rotation. Every time you refresh it, pulls up a different order, and that's something that we could do to address that. So that wouldn't be a concern.
So we asked them.
Does that answer your question, Shannon?
You're
Mute, Shannon.
Yes, I was trying to go look at something as we were talking.
Okay,
So we asked them to play. The percentage that responded wasn't so small. It's just amazing to us, right? And so my question, when we were doing the outreach, was with the other persons that were helping me do this, are we doing it right? Are we approaching it correct? Do they understand what we're doing? But there is I think, a mentality out there that of small business people, their, individual operations and stuff, that they just do not participate.
so two questions, and then I did want to go back to the budget. So if that's the case and you're marketing Ocean Shores, how do you expand that?
It's tough, but the work doesn't stop. So the biggest thing is that whatever we did this past year, we have to double down on and triple down on until we get more participation. We have to show them the content that was created about the businesses that didn't even want to volunteer. Because the truth is that our asset list that we have, that we've generated from Master Plan Media is extensive. And the content that gets distributed in the off season, because that's the ideal time for us to start some of those campaigns, is going to be amazing. And it's very visual. It's very business friendly. It's very heads and beds driven. The whole point of what we're doing was to help facilitate that. We didn't want to do anything else. I would gladly pull OFA off of that website, truth be told. My whole point was, let's operate under a rising tide concept. Let's try to get everybody to succeed along the way. That's why I'm here. Literally no other reason. It's not self-promotion. I did put a ton of time and a ton of money into this campaign this year. Personal dollars, personal effort, as did everybody here on this board. Because we knew we had to backfill the fact that to do marketing at a citywide level justice, we needed a certain level of content. We needed a certain level of distribution. That's why we're here today. We're not here to fight anybody on anything. Truly.
Okay, and I did have a question. I really was on the right page for the budget. Because I was looking at one of the things in terms of the budget that you're asking for is that you were asking for 100% of your budget. And when I was looking at last year's here, it does look like you had a loss.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions that I had was, so where was that additional?
Last year, what do you?
Well, I think that's what I was looking.
It doesn't say the year.
It doesn't say the year on it.
One of the red.
The page that shows.
That's going to be this year to date as of the application date. With projected items in there for the remainder of the year.
Okay, so is that a projected loss?
No.
Or is that just?
Which number are you looking at there?
I was looking at 71,000.
So that's the remainder of the budget left to spend.
Okay. All right. So, well, then it still goes back to the question that if you're asking for 100% of your budget and we are marketing businesses within as well as Ocean Shores, and I understand that those are totally integrated. What is are there any other contributions to this?
And I put a $10,000 set of stays together over July 4th weekend so that we could get as much content of Ocean Shores as possible. So the fact of the matter is there is dollars that are being contributed, I guess indirectly.
Okay, so, but there's no indirect costs shown in here, whether it's staff.
No, we wouldn't ask for any additional dollars. We want this to be a service that we're providing for the city.
And we are always looking for opportunities for grants.
Absolutely.
So we did the one a couple years ago. Is that long ago?
Yeah.
For the airport that we had the CTAC that were done. So
that ran into this year, which was
Exactly.
cool. Yeah.
So we are looking for opportunities, any opportunity that we can, that would be for marketing, that we can couple up with. And
Admittedly, the state of Washington Tourism Board has really, those funds have all but dried up. All of those grants, for the most part, at least that are publicly available, are expired at this point, and I think waiting for renewal. But that would be another source for us to continue to monitor, and we do look at that probably once a month or so.
Okay, are there other questions?
I do.
I have a few more.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead,
okay.
Eugene.
Yeah, so as I just joined just recently on the committee, but as a a business owner here in town, I guess my question, I don't think I was reached out to. Maybe I wasn't there, but I guess if you're reaching out to
I personally went to your
businesses-
property, Eugene.
I'm so sorry.
I personally went to your property.
Okay, I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just yeah. Anyway, so I guess my question is, how do businesses participate? I think you might have used that word a couple times, or I might be paraphrasing, but like, what is the best way for hoteliers and restaurants to interact with you best? Because you mentioned that, or someone on your team mentioned that you had a pretty low response rate. So what is your call to action, I suppose, to those businesses? And I have a follow-up question after that.
So we did produce a contact sheet that they could submit to us their information specifically for our website, because we are pointing everything back to our website, the visitoceanshores.com website. So whenever they see any of our advertising, it will hopefully link them back, that gives them, these businesses, the opportunity to be showcased on or seen from our website. So it was a contact sheet of information, and all of this is ongoing. And as they make changes to their business or they have things going on, they have the opportunity to update and give us the information. Example, Jody does an excellent job with the calendar of events, and we have continued to build on that. It's very comprehensive, and now that we have established it and we are ongoing with it, at the end of the events, the calls are coming in. My dates for next year are such and such, and we are already rolling it onto the calendar. So this is very much a work in progress. It is ongoing. It is learning as we go. We are tweaking things, changing things. Some things didn't work.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for, the best opportunity that we can have spent this money for everyone. We understand the amount. We understand what it means to everyone. If marketing was easy, I think, we buy the easy pieces.
Yeah.
But it's learning and growing and continuing to work on it.
Yeah.
Can I tackle the next part, David?
Certainly.
Eugene, you asked how we're going to reach out to everybody else and convince them. And I think that.
No, that was not my question. That was not my question. No, my question was for, and it's not your fault. So it sounds like it's my fault, but like I don't think I was reached out, but anyway, it's not your problem. That's my point. My question is, I'm so sorry.
That's exactly our problem, because we want your engagement. And I think that the only way to entice you to be engaged is by being successful with those people who will engage with us. And then you can see that that's what you want as well. And I think that we all know that the success, that businesses who do reach back out, because we're not asking them to cold call us, right? The businesses that do reach back out to us will find success through what we're doing. And then you will get to see that, and then you'll want to reach out to us too.
Okay, no, it was more of a simple question. I wasn't trying to stir up anything. I was just simply asking, what is the best way for these businesses to reach back out to you? Is if it's simply just, please email us at this email address, or a contact. I heard something about a contact form or something.
We left a business card in your place with a QR code on it. That's easy, super easy way to reach out to us.
Okay.
I could speak to what our dream is, that eventually the businesses will have conversations with us, that we will know more about their business so that we can speak more specifically about what it is that you do. When we do blog posts, when we have someone do a reel or a collaborative effort, they can address, for instance, all of the businesses that are great for hikers, or all of the businesses that are great for, this other thing. So trying to find out more about each of the businesses so that we can properly advertise them. We don't want to speak out of turn and say, for instance, that it's okay to clean clams at your business when we don't know that for sure. So that kind of information would be helpful. And I think just having an ongoing conversation with each business and event organizer in town so that we can offer the best possible information for that business as well as for the visitors of Ocean Shore.
So just to follow up on that, do you have like a standardized form so that these businesses can reach out and communicate back and forth on like what is the best, like for example, like clam digging or clam cleaning stations or whatever at your establishment? Like, do you have a standardized form so that these businesses can, we can standardize that on the website? And then my follow-up question to that also is, do you have service level agreements with each business so that they are aware of, how long it takes to make an update to your website, et cetera, et cetera?
We haven't gotten quite that granular at this point. We had just hoped to, we've got every business on the website as it is. We've even brought aboard all of the new ones that have opened just in August, September. I reach out to them as soon as I see anything about that business and ask them to fill out our contact form so that we have their information correct in the database. So that can be enhanced to allow for more specifically for hotels, because there are a lot of amenities at hotels that are going to be different at each one. So yes, that could be built out to address those kinds of things, the different places, restaurants, if they have online reservations, that sort of thing. But again, we had just really hoped to at least have them check their information on the website and make sure that it was correct. And we've had difficulty just getting that.
I believe I'm sorry. I believe that, that the concept or our thought process behind this is we are the landing page, right? We will represent Ocean Shores with our nice website. It will give them all the information on things to do, where to stay, where to eat, what's going on, etc. And then, so we're the pass-through that you can go from our site to the individual restaurant's website, the hotel's website, etc. So getting that platform to where we want it is really a work in progress. It's a continual growing. I mean, things go out of date really quick too, or a property closes for a while. So for example, like the Shiloh Inn, right? There was murmurs throughout and how are we doing stuff, right? With them. So
let me just ask, because we do have another website. We have tourism. So what's the cooperation or collaboration with that?
We invited the mayor and George and some of the city folks to come and meet with us. And we did meet. And we had a very nice meeting. And our question was, we don't want to duplicate. And
thank you. I've been invited to your meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the question posed was, are we spinning wheels? Are we wasting time? Are we duplicating? Are we a benefit? Do we play together? Do we leave each other alone, do our own things and stuff? And so we did have the meeting of the minds. We came away that we are continuing to do what we do, and the tourism website remains in place. You know, it doesn't hurt to have two, right? It isn't hurting anything, right? Especially an established website. As you know, on the web, you have to play to pay or pay to play, right? For your placements and stuff. And the tourism website comes up. It's nothing that we have done has taken anything away. We are enhancing, things. Now, is there some duplication? Of course, there's some duplication and stuff, but it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't hurt to cover a lot of bases, right? I just, as much as we can get it out there.
Yeah, the Tourism Ocean Shores site, for all that it does do, doesn't list every restaurant, doesn't list every hotel.
Or every event. They
Or
have
every
their
event, right? They list specific events, but not every event. And we do our level best to get every event.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do. I have several based on that. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna read my questions and then you could respond.
Absolutely.
So in the email, there was also a dissertation about inconsistency in postings and not posting specific events with the city, et cetera. So I'd like to know a response to that. And then as a part of that, who is making those postings? Are we paying Master Plan Media to do that? Or is someone being volunteered to do that? Or is someone being paid through the coalition's funds to be doing that? Because you have all lump sum numbers and it's not broken out. Then my next question is, who monitors the hotel book direct listing? Because I think I brought up to you guys that at least 3 hotels were missing off it at one point. And then in regards to that, my last question is, if the LTAC committee does not fund you, are you willing to release the book direct link to the city of Ocean Shores, just out of curiosity? And if we do not fund you, what is your plan?
Who wants to go?
I can start. So question 1 was related to social media specifically. Is that right, Shannon?
Yes.
So this year, you will recall our first year, we had somebody doing that for us. This year, with the funding that we had, we chose to focus on the content creation and then paying for the reach. So the social media aspect we've been doing as volunteers. No one's getting paid to do so. The goal would be to have some help on that front in the upcoming cycle. So 24, 25, now looking towards 26, that would be, you know, if given the opportunity, that's what we would do.
Progression.
The progression, yes. Second, thank you for bringing up the book direct issue. That was, we were flying a little blind on that, admittedly. So unfortunately, there are development issues with that particular piece of software. It's not to say that it doesn't have its place. In fact, I was able to pull down some data just recently, and that booking widget generated 1,002 actual leads to hotels year to date. That's not nothing. It's not everything, but it's not nothing. And the breakout of that is really interesting as well. I know that Eugene had mentioned that his property wasn't represented. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I believe that was you, Eugene, that had said that. We got that fixed with them right away, and it's already generated 9 leads. Now, those leads are only as good as a lead. It's a lead generation tool. It's not a booking tool per se. I will say that they have some API integration challenges right now. So there's real-time data that some properties are getting fed through, and there's static data or just referral information for others. And I wish I knew enough to help fix that, but that's not my area of expertise. That's theirs. There are many other destination marketing organizations that use that same tool. Leavenworth, for example, is a perfect example. You can see theirs. They've got 150 properties represented. I think we've got 20, call it, yeah. So to answer your other question, absolutely. We are only doing this to help facilitate marketing for the city to put heads in beds. If the city chooses, if the committee chooses to not fund us, absolutely. We will turn over any assets that we have because we believe that this is for the better of what the city should be doing for marketing. It's not for our own purposes. Is that fair?
That's very fair. Yes. I don't
Does
have.
anybody else have questions, or if you have any other responses?
I was just going to comment that the 4th of July reel that was social media placed. Last we had looked had 750,000 views worldwide. And the world is a smaller place, right? The world is coming to our door in 2026. All indication is that tourism is going to be flat. And our conversations next year could be very, very different. That there may not even be as much money, right? We don't know. We get through the Christmas season and into January and the new year takes over. The forecasts are not good for tourism. I don't see the Canadians coming back. I don't see a lot of things happening personally and with marketing my business and who my clientele have been. So I would think that if the funding went away, I think we served our niche and we are continue to serve the niche and what we are trying to achieve and do. When I'm on the telephone with my parents and they're watching Fox News and mom says, oh, visit oceanshores.com. At primetime news time, we haven't had that before. We haven't had that for a lot of years. We had it this year. It's hard to measure the effect of all of it and if it is effective, and we're trying our best. We've got data that we can provide anybody that wants to know the hits, how many times we went through Fox News, how many times we were at the Mariner, the Mariners and all that stuff. We have all that data and we are not keeping it secret. We're sharing it with everybody.
Okay, well, I did not see a lot of that data in here. I mean, I saw things like visits and traffic sources. But one of the things that I did not see is, for example, what is your cost per engagement? Per engagement on social media, your cost per engagement on website, which are pretty kind of standard tools. Do you have any of that off the top of your head?
So cost per click on website tools and empowering social media, but specifically through Google, I think what were we sitting at?
Are you using Google Analytics?
A little bit, yes, a little bit, although that was kind of in its infancy stages.
But we are up and going. We have been for several months. So
big data that we have is going to be surrounding what is super measurable, which was where we placed most of the media, which is going to be on streaming platforms. So across pretty much any streaming platform, you could find our advertising. $12.50 cost per unique household. We did initially have some of those dollars being spent down in the Portland metro area, and that was much more expensive and the return was terrible. Yeah. So we reallocated just with the Fox team that does streaming as well. They helped us kind of look at our geos and say, where are the funds doing the most work? And it was that Everett to Olympia, straight up and down that I-5 corridor. $12.50 was not a big number, so per household. And then the average views per household was 4.5 times per day. Okay. So it's really interesting information along, that we've been able to get from them along the way. And it's the route we chose for this year. It was the face forward, put the streaming in the people's hands in their homes. There's a lot more data surrounding cost per click and cost per customer when we start getting into true meta advertising with Facebook or Instagram or any of those types of things.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Do you have any, George?
I do.
Just
go ahead, Harold.
I used to sell radio and TV advertising. And I understand what it's like to when you sell this stuff, send a message out. you don't have anything in your hand. There's nothing in your pocket. You're just buying this stuff. It's like buying life insurance.
Yeah.
I don't get it and put it in my car, it's just there. So I understand what you're kind of going through as far as trying to reach people because you're buying vaporware, it's just kind of there. You did mention that you were going to have you had some people coming out and do some filming. On the businesses that you represent that have stuff on there, can they get access to the camera footage? Could they make their own ads?
Totally.
Yeah.
The assets are for the city.
Where do you have them at?
We have, well, they're for, where do we have them at? Oh, YouTube.
YouTube.
We have everything on YouTube. Almost everything on YouTube. We just got a big download a couple days ago, so that'll make its way through social media over the course of the next couple of weeks, and then onto YouTube for everybody to click through and link to and all of those things.
And Daryl, if I can add, one of the wrestling bouts that we have faced with the people we've been doing business with is we wanted that content to be available to any local business that wanted it at no cost. No licensing, no borrowing, no I told you, nobody else owns it.
Yeah.
It's for the city.
Yeah.
You don't need my permission to use it. You don't need King's permission. You don't need Fox 13's permission. You don't need Red Wine Media's permission.
Yeah.
And that was a big hurdle that we went through in the first year was we just couldn't get on board with the right people to sell us a product. Like you say, you're buying vapor.
Yeah.
What we bought now belongs to any business in Ocean Shores that wants to use it, even if it doesn't have their business in it.
Yeah.
I can use all of Bennett's footage. I probably won't, but it could.
Right. That was my question.
Yeah.
So I looked at your booking tool.
Yeah.
And I just did a search for December 15th and 19th, and I found 22 properties.
Okay.
8 of them I could book through the booking.
What dates were you looking for?
December 15th through 19th.
Okay.
But it didn't say that.
Just random.
Yeah, it was random. And so it said there's 8 that I could possibly go through, and then it gave me the rates, and it was all kind of nice. And 14 of the 22 said you have to contact them directly. There's no online book. And I look on your chart, and it's $800 a month. So it's for these 8 properties. You're spending $100 a month for each of those that agreed with you. That, and I understand that they didn't want to play ball. Apparently,
it could possibly be that.
Actually, all of these properties, even with the call to reserve, are represented in the distribution of leads. And while we didn't have this information when we submitted the application, we were able to get them to develop a report for us that did break it out. So, Shannon thankfully brought that to our attention that her property had gone down. So I went and she's got 38 leads or referrals. Let me see if I see another one. Eugene's that just got put online maybe a week or 2 ago. They're still working through trying to get that directly connected so it's real-time feeding that information and not just a call to book concept, and they have 9. So it is still generating leads regardless. It's just, of course, we would love it to have the real-time data, and it's not booking those through the website. All it's doing is pre-filling out their website with date filters and rate. That's it.
The better booking engine that they have,
Yeah.
then the better it will appear
Yeah.
on our site.
Yeah.
So not to beat it to death, but with hotel property management systems, there is a piece of equipment that I call the clearinghouse. So my clearinghouse for the Great Gull is called Synexus. Everything from the World Wide Web feeds into Synexus. My property management system in turn feeds into Synexus, and it's live, sending data back and forth, saying my availability is this, my rates are this. What happens, because there's infinite number of property management systems, Some are old, some are antiquated. What we're finding in Ocean Shores, a lot of them are antiquated and they don't play with the modern new stuff, right? So when they come up like that and it is allowing them, okay, contact the property direct, it's because of that. It is not playing ball.
And it's not even it's not even the hotelier that's not playing ball.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's just software. They're tools.
Yeah.
And in my case, I
think-
use the same software as another hotel that works. So that's the frustrating part. So if we could address that and have that.
Shannon, which
fit.
one, which property is also?
Polynesian.
The Polynesian from day one didn't work. So I don't know if they were previously on like an older version or something. I know this because we went through the process. They created a static rate, so an average rate. So it looks like it works, but it doesn't. It's not feeding real time. It's got average rates and average availability, and then ultimately it just sends them a referral.
Well, I'll go back to, I originally worked and then we don't work. So establishing why we don't work would be helpful, but you spoke about upcoming filming. I'm not gonna harp on that. I have 2 comments and I have a question about upcoming filming. I'd like to know the upcoming filming, what businesses besides the ones that we always see are going to be filmed, or what is going to be filmed to promote Ocean Shores? And then my other comment is, I feel like you guys were a little defensive, and you have to understand that as an LTAC member, on more than one occasion, I know personally, I have reached out to some of you and said, hey, I am tired of getting people that tell me like, I'm tired of seeing Bennett's ads. Can you just like, hey, advertise Mike's Seafood or someone else instead? And that doesn't seem to change. And maybe in your minds it does, but to the general community, it's not. So I think that there needs to be a cognate effort to change that if you get funding, is my first comment. My second comment is, if you ever ask me for a hotel room and you have someone that does not show up for filming or whatever, you are costing me money and you're being disrespectful to me and saying, oops, I didn't know at 10 o'clock at night is not acceptable. And a lot of hotels are trying to be generous. A lot of people are trying to play in the sand and to do things to help promote Ocean Shores. And that kind of thing is absolutely unacceptable. And it happened to me this year by your association, and I'm not happy about it. And I just want to publicly state that I think that that is awful to do to a company.
Never our intention, Shannon. I hope you understand that, to have, to reach out to a business and say, hey, we're gonna bring these film crews by, and then they, are running around and doing a bunch of stuff and maybe it didn't work out or whatever the situation was. I can't recall specifically, but that's never our intention. I hope you know that, but our goal only is to involve the business community as much as possible. And it's not a small task what we've taken on, and that's why we're still sitting here, is because we believe that it's important enough to warrant it. So I hope that you guys understand that our goal is to help facilitate the best possible marketing campaign for the city, and to involve everybody as much as possible. And that is our goal. We want to involve everybody. We really do. And so while I understand that there's been challenges along the way, we navigate those, and we try to do those with a smile on our face. Truthfully, we try to be positive only, negative never. That's the most important part. Giving everybody the perception that Ocean Shores is the most wonderful place that we all know it is. So I hope that that's enough. We're here because we're committed to doing this. Funding is the only way that we can do it, truthfully, and as effectively as we want. So
I looked at one thing on the restaurants, and I went to that part of your webpage, and there's 38 restaurants on your list, and it included one closed place, but they just closed this week.
Oh,
So then I thought, well, geez. And then there was nothing on the You Bake Pizza place that's been here for quite several months. But do you guys, look at the business licenses? Is that how you determine them?
So we did get a download of E&O taxpayers, effectively, just kind of like a generic list. Sorted through those as best as possible because it is lengthy. There's over 400 and some odd B&O taxpayers. And then we went to work from there, separating by category, pounding pavement, knocking down doors, trying to get information. Not a small feat, but it's an evolution.
One of the things I saw that I think would create this animosity that some people have, when I looked at that list of all the restaurants, maybe 4 of them had pictures on it and the rest of them didn't.
Right. Wouldn't it be nice if when you asked for a picture, they sent you one?
Or send a guy out and just take a
photo.
stinking snapshot.
Again, though, that costs money.
Yeah.
And we've had struggles with finding a photographer that would take the picture and allow us to own the picture. The people that we initially started with tried to convince us that they owned it forever. And if we allowed a business to use it for their business, that they would then have to pay a license fee.
That's true.
So that's been a struggle.
Hope they will provide for us that way too.
Right.
In terms of outreach, a lot of days it was get in the car, we're gonna cover this strip mall.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And stopped in. Again, sometimes we had to make the pitch to the counter person because there was no manager, no owner, nobody on site, right? For the absentee people, here is my contact information. I'm David at the Gray Gold, the manager. Here is my business card as well. Have them reach out to me. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, thank you very much for the marathon meeting. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Okay, one more thing. Public well, actually, there's 2 more things. Any public communication at this point? Yeah, go ahead. Kurt Dooley. Okay. Can you give your name?
My name is Kurt Dooley. And I'm just an average citizen here. I want to begin by saying I appreciate the presentations from all of us today, and especially the plain talk from the Coastal Interpretive Center and the Marketing Coalition. But I have a few notes about the Marketing Coalition. What I felt was over the past year, there's been a lot of confusion and rumors in the community about what you do and how decisions are made and what value is being delivered. And the coalition didn't communicate consistently or proactively with the community. When rumors are concerned about ways, there wasn't a clear response, and that allowed other people to find the narrative. And that hurt public confidence in what you do. You did work hard throughout the year, and good things were accomplished. But I'm just saying it was a missed opportunity to explain your work, report results, and engage directly with the community.
Can I have a copy?
But I think also we can explain, you and every other group can explain that you're not using city tax dollars here. It's not coming out of the taxpayer funds.
Right.
It's the tourists themselves that are paying for this.
Right.
So I certainly offer that better communication would be, you gotta market yourselves.
You need to do some.
Appreciate that.
Can't afford to, we're busy trying to reach people outside of 50 miles.
I know.
Is that it for public
That was
comment?
it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
She's got her hand raised.
Oh,
Upper left.
yeah. Hi, Gina. Go ahead with your public comment.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I've been listening to this for a while, and I've been knocked off several times. And the gist of what I want to share is that the tone of voice of the marketing group was really poor. It was agitated, it was aggressive, and I just felt like that was out of place here. If they're struggling or if they're having issues with technology, I get that. But the tone of voice to the responses or for their responses was just not, it was aggressive, and I just thought it was out of place. And for having the time that they have had, I think the marketing group is not doing as much as it could have done. I understand going ahead and putting it back on the business owners after one initial greeting or trying to meet with them. It's difficult, and a lot of the people that are owning these businesses haven't marketed. I understand that too, but it just seems like if you have that kind of a budget that you've gotten from LTAC, expected more opportunities of the marketing group to go to the businesses and try to encourage them to join in. And I'm not feeling that that was what was done. And it was disappointing. The results were disappointing. As far as the CIC, I felt like it shouldn't have been the city's responsibility to look up their federal ID numbers to make sure that they had them. It should have been part of the package. That was not, it wasn't supposed to be staff's responsibility to go ahead and secure that information. There are several opportunities that I listened to the presentation, and there's underlying problems with it, but also it doesn't put heads in beds. As much as I would love to see it happen, they don't qualify. So I appreciate, and I do recognize that this LTAC is probably the closest that I've seen to what I expect the LTAC to be. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the LTAC members' time. That I hope that if you look at what was presented today, that you make it uniform. I mean, I truly like the youth athletic program. I think that they have a lot to benefit, but they have to show heads and beds. And I personally go to any of the hoteliers or any of the businesses, and my major portion of my paycheck goes to Ace Hardware. So I want to promote the city, but I just think that this hasn't worked out as well as it could have in the amount of time that they've had and the amount of money they've had. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Gina. Okay,
I have a question for you. Is there a projection or an estimate of the amount of LTAC dollars that will be collected? And I know you run 2 months behind. What is the actual amount going to be collected for 2025?
Is Sarah still on there?
Yep, just a second. So as it was provided in the agenda packet, the estimated hotel motel tax revenue is $1,365,000 for 2026.
1,365,000.
$65,000.
$55,000. 65,000. Our ask was 245,000. The percentage of what is collected and what we have asked for direct marketing with our app.
Councilmember Sires, am I responding to a public comment right now? Is this a public comment or is this a question of the board?
It's public comment. It was a
Okay.
public comment.
That's my apologies, because we don't respond to public comments, so.
Okay. They didn't know the answer, I guess, maybe, but okay.
They're not supposed to either.
Okay, and I think I made my point.
I do have the list of how much is available. We have another meeting starting at 1 o'clock. I just wanted, under the discussion is the evaluation review. And as you know, we have new evaluation forms. And I just wanted to make sure that the committee, when you were looking at a definition of promoting tourism, marketing, clarity, cooperative nature, that all of those are actually defined in the lodging tax funding program in the application. So if you go to the second page, applicants, the criteria used by LTAC to evaluate and rank the applicants are as follows. And there are the 12 things there, and the definitions are there. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, email me, and I think we are ready to adjourn.
I have
You
a
ready?
question. I had a quick question about the form. So
Yes.
when we're doing the form, I just want to be clear, because obviously I'm not going to be in Washington doing this form. Is it like I'm just using it for a grading scale? We're going to go over it and I'm going to say, for instance, Beachcomber scored a 45. I'm just randomly throwing out a number. Okay.
Yes.
But my
And-
notes, I just want to know if this is going to be collected and be public comment, or if I could throw it and shred it, or I just want to be very clear on my process, as I'm not in Washington, and I want to make sure that if whatever I put on here, if it's for public comment, that I am personally okay for it being up on the city's website for whatever reason.
The city.
Yes,
will be
and
collecting
anything
those.
that you,
Yeah, sorry.
you want to answer it, Sarah?
Yeah, so the city will be collecting those, Shannon, and they will be for public distribution.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the evaluations? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.